Welcome in, everyone, to tonight's edition of Wave News Extra on Monday, October 6th. Taking, of course, our customary view of the downtown skyline. Thanks, of course, to our SkyTrack network. And getting this great shot of the cars crossing over the bridge and enjoying what's so far been a pretty calm weather Monday-wise, except for what felt like pretty consistent rain, something we're definitely going to talk about tonight with the storm tracking team, with the meteorologist kind of following how much longer we'll be talking about the rain and the impact, how much of a dent that's put in sort of coming back from outside of the drought for our Kentucky and southern Indiana counties for sure. Let's welcome you in here to the Wave Now studio, barring not the customary graphics behind me. So we'll proceed with that. Appreciate you joining us tonight. I'm Jose Sosaya here in the studio. As you join us to kind of go over again, highlighting and unpacking some of the day's bigger stories, some things you might have missed over the course of the day that our Wave News reporting team has been keeping track of as close to possible here in our neck of the woods and further out. Shout out to ZK Hodge on YouTube, by the way. Thanks, ZK, for tuning in. A reminder, of course, you can always follow us along in the Wave Now and Wave News Extra community on our socials, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, of course, on the Wave Now streaming app for your Fire, Roku, and smart devices on your TV. Want to start off, folks, with some pretty, stunning video we got from drone and some pictures. And thankfully, this is not the worst possible outcome as I bring this up with you, but we did get it confirmed with the Louisville Regional Airport Authority. So our source there letting us know this was the plane that crashed in Mount Washington with one pilot on board. He left Bowman Field just after 2 this afternoon, but crashed around 15 minutes later. This is around Aaron Circle in Bullitt County. So this gives you at least a rough idea of where the pilot had to land. And we're told the pilot from the get-go was okay, was survived and was able to move. He was reportedly alert, talking to paramedics who had got the call to head out there to the scene. The biplane itself is not based at Bowman. It did arrive at the airport, though, last night. I want to share with you the call we were able to get from, this was the platform called Live ATC that recorded the Mayday call. And our understanding, it was a fellow pilot. It was presumably, and working to confirm, this was the pilot's wife, with this information, making this call and sharing what was going on with air traffic control.
Mayday, Charlie Foxtrot Zulu Kilo Romeo, Charlie Fox Alpha Zulu Juliet, the PIP S1S has a fuel problem. I can't find him in the air at all. I don't know where he went. He had the transponder code, so can you find him? I see smoke in the trees, so I'm gonna see if that's him.
You can certainly sense the urgency. Yeah, this was as that plane was going down. 11 minutes later, after taking off, landing here in Mount Washington, and a Bullitt County Sheriff's Office said, too, confirming the pilot who was on board this red plane was able to walk around, complaining of head pain. You heard from the audio there the suggestion there was some fuel issues. For what reason? Now, certainly the NTSB is going to get involved. We were told agents and investigators would be getting there around 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. And as they're gathering any evidence or clues, we'll be sure to reach out with them, with the airport authority, to see what else they can glean or share from that. So thankfully, a worst case scenario certainly avoided today. With could have been some pretty harrowing stuff out there. Moving on to some other stories we've been following. So this is in the context of some video I want to share with you out in a neighborhood, in the Taylorberry neighborhood. Mayor Greenberg saying the city, for now, is on the right track to reduce violent crime. This was a comment he made with as president with the Metro Office of Violence Prevention. They put out a new report documenting overall 3 years of progress. And we went out to Taylorberry to talk because you hear the sound from city leaders and officials. We did talk to many longtime neighbors, homeowners around there. One person we talked to, her name is Rebecca. She organized the Taylorberry Anti-Violence Coalition, and she was saying in the last 3 years, based on the investment in resources around, there's at least been a noticeable drop in the sounds of gunfire, as she described it.
When we first moved in, it was difficult because we heard gunshots all the time. And when I became a mother 4 years ago almost, it was terrifying, honestly. But over the past 3 years, I can tell you that occurrence has reduced. I haven't heard as many gunshots when I'm putting my son to bed, and that is dynamic.
So into our look, the Taylorberry neighborhood, one of 5 Louisville neighborhoods emerging, according to the reporting from the office, as far as successful progress in rolling back violent crime. OVP, their program called Pivot to Peace claims a 62% reduction of the violent crime in those neighborhoods. That's for the first 6 months of the year compared to the same time last year. The new report also comes out, though, after a weekend where we did see 2 double shootings. City officials, though, were quick to say there is still much work left to do. I'm seeing Albert, appreciate Albert commenting on our feed here on YouTube. As far as his experimental aircraft, and I could bring the video back from what our drone was able to capture. Not to my understanding, there was nothing disclosed as far as what specifically, although we did actually, while I'm here, I can take a look at what confirmation was from our airport authority source. She described it as a Pitts S-1C special biplane. For the aviators out there, don't know necessarily what that would mean to you, but that's what we were told as far as the specific make and model, a Pitts S-1C special biplane that did leave Bowman Field. And you can see, of course, badly damaged in this regard. Moving on to some more stories to start off this part of the hour. Name familiar, of course, if you followed us in the Crystal Rogers case and the trials from this summer. And the man who a jury decided was guilty and would serve a life sentence according to their recommendation, and the judge agreed. That's Brooks Houck. Well, he officially filed an appeal after a jury, of course, had agreed that he was guilty based on the trial, and they came to that decision. But we know paperwork was filed with the Nelson County Court today. Attorneys appealing Houck's conviction on conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. That bringing that life sentence, which it just recently was set to start. And another man found guilty in Rogers' case, Joseph Lawson, we know, is also appealing his conviction. And another story related to, of course, a monumental case and just the updates we've been getting leading up to this. Former LMPD officer Brett Hankison, in the end, we've learned he's expected to report to prison this week. He was sentenced to 33 months for his role in the botched raid where Breonna Taylor was killed back in 2020. However, Hankison's attorneys filed a motion to try and extend his reporting date for the sentence by 60 to 90 days. Today, we learned a judge denied that motion. Hankison is scheduled to report on October 9th. All right, so coming back here in the studio, something that the Wave News team wanted to dig a little further into was word of a popular pizza shop near U of L's campus, and in the end, learning that they won't be able to sell any alcohol anymore. That's because Metro inspectors suspended the business's liquor license after a visit very recently. In fact, it was late last week. Wave News reporter Logan Perone talked to the agency about them making this decision and their work to keep alcohol out of the hands of minors.
Fire Oven Pizza, just off of U of L's campus, is open for business. They're just not serving any alcohol right now. They got an emergency suspension order from Metro ABC for over-serving customers as well as serving minors. Just down the road from dorms and classrooms, Fire Oven Pizza is a go-to for U of L students like Jordan and TJ.
Whenever you need it, it's got you. So, I mean, it's really like a pivotal part of the campus.
It wasn't the place to be Thursday night when Metro Alcohol and Beverage Control paid a visit.
Me and my friend were about to go in there. And they said, no, you can't, no one's going in, no one's going out. It was like they were bouncers. It was crazy.
While ABC was there, detectives saw multiple underage people consuming alcohol and several attempting to leave before being carted. Officials ultimately issued 9 citations to underage drinkers and an emergency suspension order on the store's liquor license.
If you're doing something incorrect, we're going to be there to adjust it and change that behavior because, again, community safety is our number one goal.
Chief Ron Fay oversees ABC's enforcement. The department partners with U of L and its police department to curb underage drinking by students.
One of the things that we do with that partnership is to identify locations, again, on campus or in close proximity where this potentially can be going on and do those integrity checks, investigate and enforce those alcohol laws to ensure that the community and the student body is safe.
Fire Oven Pizza's owner declined to speak with us until after his hearing. However, customers say they will continue to show up.
People like us are always going to support them, so I think we're going to keep in business and they're going to still be successful.
The owner of Woodfire Pizza has 10 days to respond to that order as well as appeal. In Louisville, Logan Perone, Wave News.
And of course, our thanks to Logan as far as that is concerned. We will keep tabs, whatever that window would be for that appeal, and we'll let you know, not just here on the streams whenever we do put those up, but of course on broadcast. We have the newscast and on our website, wave3.com. Bring you out here another great shot of our downtown skyline, as we got much more to discuss here on the stream for tonight's Wave News Extra. In part, just a quick update as our reporting team is sort of still digesting what GCPS's new task force has been discussing this evening in trying to chip away at their the multi-$100 million budget shortfall that's predicted, and discussing what sort of the big spending looks like as far as operations are concerned, which of course we'll discuss later into the night, looking up on Wave News at 11. But we do have other stories to talk about, in particular the reaction to this revelation of a man who was given parole after pretty heinous crime in Kentucky, and now the Kentucky Parole Board responding, putting out statements because their safety is being threatened, but them explaining that were it up to them, this convicted person, now have left, a convicted felon, that they would have kept him in custody, but per state law, they were not able to do so. So we're going to break that down coming up after the break. And another really interesting dive from our reporting team into a string of purse thefts and how that led to an arrest. Of course, if you saw the push alert, more things we've got kind of further along into the hour. Great groups doing stuff in the community. Wonderful conversation Myra Ansari had with Oscar-winning actor and movie legend Morgan Freeman, and other things happening here and around our community. Looking at all over that. So we're going to take a quick break and be right back with much more of tonight's Wave Extra. So sit tight. All right, folks, welcome back. And a reminder, with these pretty big ongoing stories, especially like with the JCPS board trying to tackle that massive budget deficit and all the reporting we've been doing. A reminder, even with these older stories, we do add more to it, and you can kind of follow along the timeline of our reporting on wave3.com. But just to put some perspective on where you can find kind of the context that's informing this huge story impacting, hundreds of thousands of families here in Jefferson County. In essence, just an update from our Wave News reporting team. Our Julie Richardson is going to have much more tonight at 11. But in essence, just in talking to her as far as the focus of what it seemed to be tonight, a lot of sort of points and updates from the district's operations manager to say, and the long and the short of it is a lot of the money being spent currently by JCPS operations and the focus is on transportation. So getting the kids to school, getting them back, funding that properly, and construction. And then there's some of those projects, according to the operations manager, that are necessary, quote, is how Julia had described it. So as we'll break that down much more in depth for you tonight at 11, we're expecting some of the board's new revenue advisory task force. This is what they're going to key in on to see how they can have some of that progress, pinpointing those expenses. Overall, remember that $188 million deficit, and including a planned update, we were told from Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood. So something we're going to have much more of tonight on Wave News at 11. I'm going to play some video here and see if I can set it up a little further along. Here we go. So in essence, this is the case, if you've heard familiar with the case of Ronald Exantis. And we did get an update today from Kentucky State Police because now they're apparently investigating threats made to Kentucky parole board members. They're describing it as inaccurate information shared about Ronald Exantis' release. The parole board making it clear that they did not release him. They unanimously voted for him to stay in prison, even though the case is now that they point to Kentucky law required Department of Corrections release him under mandatory reentry supervision. And this is the case where the victim, young Logan Tipton, and a jury in the end, found Exantis, at least the jury coming to the point where they thought he was having a mental health issue. That was by reason of insanity. And so there was still that charge in the sentence, a long one of around 20 years. But in essence, this was from the chair of the Kentucky Parole Board, Ladidra N. Jones, that parole board members have faced significant threats over the last several days. What those threats have been specifically, we're not sure of. And the statement from the cabinet saying that Exantis did appear before the parole board in September. After reviewing his file September 30th, the board made a unanimous decision for him to stay in prison and serve out the remainder of his sentence. But despite that, again, apparently state law required the DOC to release him according to KRS 439.3406 about mandatory reentry supervision. We were told, as far as finding out the reporting from our partners as well, that Exantis was serving out the remainder of his parole in Florida. So something we will certainly be following as any more information comes to light and what could come next. On to another story for you tonight. This is in New Albany, where we found out a man faces charges for shooting and killing another man in his front yard. He was supposed to go to change his plea this morning, but that did not happen. Instead, the prosecutor requested a pre-sentencing investigation. Kevin Campbell, whose mugshot you saw there, faces charges for shooting and killing Christopher Proctor in his front yard after Campbell claimed Proctor had a sword, but police discovered that statement was a lie. And today we talked to Campbell's attorney, saying people online should not be so quick to judge their client based on limited details, as he put it.
It's just important in any case for people to understand that in the little snippets of information that they receive from a court filing or something they read on Facebook, there's just more to it. There's just more to it. And I think both sides of a case, I think the prosecution and the defense are better served, and the cause of justice is better served if people will wait and not rush to judgment and not consider that what they've read on social media is the fact or the truth.
By the way, our Brian Schlonsky was the one who was able to talk to both attorneys, parties in this matter. His full report on Kevin Campbell's case is up on wave3.com. Pretty bizarre bit of breaking news from over the weekend in Indianapolis, where police leaders and city leaders confirmed former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez has been charged with a level 5 felony after a fight over parking where Sanchez was stabbed and a 69-year-old man has severe injuries. The prosecutor is saying Sanchez is charged with battery involving serious bodily injury. This happened early Saturday near the Marriott downtown in Indianapolis. Court filings and documents say Sanchez approached this delivery driver while intoxicated, upset about a parking spot, and then allegedly got in the cab and attacked him. But the driver stabbed Sanchez multiple times, saying it was in self-defense.
Well, I want to be clear about this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live, if you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable.
All told, however, this proceeds, and if Sanchez is brought to trial, he could face between 1 and 6 years behind bars if convicted. Let's see, bring you back out here into the studio for this. So LMPD said they've recently arrested a couple of men who were charged with stealing wallets from older women. These are women in their 70s and 80s, oftentimes right out of their shopping carts. Now, it seems the pastor of a local church is even charged with engaging in organized crime. This is an update from our Wave News reporter, Fernando Garcia Francescini, talking to Metro Police and confirming that the pastor involved was arrested on the way to church services on Sunday. And Wave News called this congregation on LaSalle Avenue. Somebody answered and they confirmed this man was the pastor, but didn't know of an arrest. This is Fernando's report.
LMPD has arrested Virgil Mosey and Nathaniel Porter III in connection with credit card fraud. Police say the men were caught on camera targeting women in their 70s and 80s shopping at Kroger and Meijer, stealing their wallets right out of the shopping cart. Then police say the men used the stolen cards at Walgreens. All of the crimes were caught on camera, and police say Mosey and Porter went to the stores in vehicles registered in their own names. A total of 3 cars were seized. The arrests, a reminder for everyone to pay attention in public.
It can be so traumatic for an individual when their wallet or their purse goes missing, or worse, has been stolen. Because what are you going to do?
Scott Wagonist with AARP Kentucky says the first thing you should do if your credit card is stolen is report it to police.
If your wallet or your purse goes missing, make sure that you call your credit card companies right away and freeze your credit. Because if your cards are out there, you know you're at risk of some serious criminal activity.
He says you should be extra aware of your belongings if you're around large crowds. Wagonist also advises against keeping things like your passport, your social security card, or checkbooks in your wallet.
They can be a treasure for scammers and fraudsters.
So again, thanks to our Fernando Garcia Francescini. Again, police saying that this pastor, Virgil Mosey, and Nathaniel Porter III then spending thousands of dollars from these stolen credit cards at grocery stores, pharmacies, racking up more than $5,000 in these fraudulent purchases that they got the cards by snatching wallets out of these older women's shopping carts. Again, facing multiple charges: theft by unlawful taking, fraudulent use of credit cards, engaging in organized crime, and trafficking in financial information. When we come back, we're going to have an update from our Wave News anchor, Dawn G, on a group here in our community trying to be that agent for change and to, tamp down on sort of these initial rushes to violence in parts of our neighborhoods. As far as strange celebration for one community calling itself the fraud capital of the world. And a little later, we're going to wrap up tonight with that conversation with Morgan Freeman about the reason why he's coming to town to join a performance with the Louisville Orchestra. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with much more of tonight's Wave News Extra. Just shy of 8:31 here on this Monday evening. Appreciate you joining us for tonight's edition of Wave News Extra through your smart TV devices on the Wave Now app or on social. Wanted to share this report from our Wave News anchor, Dawn G. She's sharing the story of a group of Louisvillians using their relationships, their love of community, and their own collective talents and efforts to interrupt and prevent cycles of violence that very often we are reporting on when that breaking news does happen. But just a group of neighbors trying to do the best that they can to be that agent for change. And this is what Dawn put together as far as her report for today.
Our community is so not paying attention to the fact that violence is a public health issue.
Dr. Eddie Wood, CEO of No More Red Dots, a violence de-escalation and youth mentoring group, is working for its name, No More Red Dots. Red dots are commonly used to track homicides on Louisville Metro Police Department's crime maps.
We have to treat the same way we did smoking, the same way we do cancer, and all of the public health issues.
The method is prevention and intervention. Louisville reached triple-digit homicides for 5 consecutive years from 2020 through 2024. In 2025, although rates for homicides, non-fatal shootings, and carjackings decreased, the losses are still too great to claim victory.
15 seconds right now could cost you 15 years.
Right.
Deshandre Waters knows. Waters is a violence intervention specialist, part of No More Red Dots, and Hope by Hope.
And we think responsible decision making is when you make decisions based on your values. But if you don't have a set of values established, then you can't make responsible decisions.
Woods and Waters have both been in the system.
There's a whole lot of brilliance inside of our penitentiaries, inside of our jails.
Woods and Waters are 2 of 12 peacekeepers featured in the new book by the Louisville Story Program. You got to be of the people. Peacekeepers at the heart of public safety in Louisville. They are peace seekers and peacekeepers, working to interrupt and prevent cycles of violence. Cities United partnered with the program to make the book possible. Anthony Smith is the executive director.
So this book hopefully highlights them, highlights their impact, and gives this city and this country a new vision of what public safety could look like so that we can invest our resources the right way.
Smith was the inaugural director for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods for Louisville, establishing the department and creating Louisville's first comprehensive violence prevention plan.
So I think wherever there's lack of resources and lack of opportunities, there's opportunities to see balance. Our young people are way more mobile and they don't care about neighborhood boundaries and lines and all of those things either. So that's how violence moves.
Waters stresses as trusted, credible messengers in their community, as peacemakers. They too are ready and on the move, going neighborhood to neighborhood, child to child, if needed, gang member to gang member, for life-changing love, support, mentorship, and services.
Like a lot of programs don't have high-risk kids in them because they don't show up to programs.
Right. Right.
You got to go get them. We can go and get high-risk kids, the ones that people are afraid of and or just don't have the means to get to.
It is a story of community-led solutions that don't include a sentence and a prison cell. They work in real time to deter the crime and develop a solution if possible.
All of those things that I've done in the streets, one thing, I think it helped save my life, just understanding that somebody loved me. There were other trusted adults outside of the adults that were tasked to love me.
We are talking about being consistently available to folks who don't believe people care about them.
The peacekeepers believe there is another way to do public safety.
We are then not teaching our young people how to resolve issues. And this becomes the resolve.
If we lucky, we find them. If we lucky, they run into one of us or somebody like us. It's an emotional subject for me.
All right, thanks to our Dawn G. If you want to learn more about the work that the Story program is doing, or the Peacekeepers, and their book is called You Got to Be of the People, Dawn has much more. It's all fleshed out in her full report on wave3.com. More updates tonight. A new candidate, but with a familiar family name, running for Indiana Secretary of State, Democrat Bo Bai, announcing a campaign. The former Marine Corps captain, the son of former U.S. Senator and Governor Evan Bai, 29-year-old Harvard Law School grad, currently serving as a judicial law clerk in Bloomington. The Bai family, certainly not disfamiliar, a more well-known name in politics for Indiana, as far as that's concerned, for generations. His grandfather, Birch Bai, had served as U.S. Senator for nearly 2 decades. Republican incumbent Diego Morales has been Secretary of State for Indiana since 2023. He has announced his plans to run for re-election. Staying in Indiana, some folks in Jeffersonville, they say they want to push back against the plans for the new data center. Meta, Facebook's parent company, has plans for an $800 million facility in the River Ridge Commerce Center. They say it would help power the company's platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Jeffersonville's mayor has called the project an investment. Some local action groups, however, are concerned for the development and its impact on the community. One group recently talking to leaders and just having these public sort of forums for conversation highlighted what kind of burden a data center would put on the local water supply.
So the data centers, particularly the newer data centers for like the more intelligent AI, use a substantial amount of water to cool their computer equipment. And in that process, it evaporates, so they're not able to reuse it. The most notable is in Newton County, Georgia, where they are seeing a water deficit by 2030. They are already seeing the consequences of that deficit with wells drying up on private property, but in rate increases to help make up for the municipal water supply, but the full deficit will hit by 2030.
Still, construction on that Jeffersonville data center is well underway. Meta has said they plan to have that facility up and running by 2026. Coming over to Louisville Athletics, and they are going to retire Junior Bridgman's number 10 jersey at a game this upcoming season, a basketball game this upcoming season. Bridgman's number 10 is going to be the 6th number retired in all of Louisville men's basketball's program history. The jersey raised in the rafters December 13th. This will be a ceremony during the U of L Memphis game. Bridgman was the top 30 career scorer for the Cardinals, All-American honors in 1975, while leading Louisville to the Final Four. Of course, following his career at U of L, he played those 12 seasons in the NBA, becoming a successful businessman, reaching billions in assets with his business acumen. Bridgman, if you remember, of course, when we broke that news back in March, he died March 11th at the age of 71. All right, bringing you back here in the studio as we're coming up on 8:39. This is a little bit of a flight down to Louisiana. Wanted to share something in the realm of odd but fun kind of news. In one Louisiana city, there are frogs in front of stores, the police station, even the firehouse. From reporter Dave McNamara taking us to the city, now promoting itself as the, quote, frog capital of the world.
It seems that everywhere you look in the Cajun town of Rayne, you see frogs. They're on the sidewalks, in front of stores, the police station and firehouse, and the courthouse. And about 24 frog murals are painted on the sides of buildings.
We're quite proud of the fact that we're the frog capital of the world.
Fran Bim with the Chamber of Commerce credits Jacques Weil and his 2 brothers with starting a frog export business in the late 1800s.
They started a frog shipping company to export frogs back to the restaurants in France to serve as a delicacy in fried frog legs.
The frog export companies are gone, but not the frogs.
That's a big one. Look how fat.
For Lakin Bischoff and her fiancé Jacob Zombreger, this is a perfect date night.
Since I was a little girl, my dad would always bring me.
What's the key to catching a frog?
Can't let it get away. Firm grip.
And Jacob has the perfect partner.
It's quite nice whenever you can sit back and relax and just point the spotlight, knowing that, I mean, you saw her miss one time tonight, and like I said, that's a rare occurrence.
The frogs hang out along the edges of commercial crawfish ponds. Their white throats give them away in the spotlight. And within seconds, the frogs are snatched from the snake-infested water.
That's a nice one.
What's a good night of frogging?
Hundreds. When you get in the triple digits, you could say it's definitely a successful night, hands down.
This one's probably the biggest. It's full of crawfish.
And there is one other claim to frog fame. 2 decades before NASA had frogs floating in a space shuttle, 2 bullfrogs from Rain made a giant leap into orbit in 1970. NASA strapped the frogs inside a tiny capsule to test the effect of weightlessness on their ears, which are very similar to humans. The test was a success, and NASA said goodbye to the Cajun frogs.
Our frogs passed away, so bless them.
Rain has been celebrating its amphibian history with an annual frog festival, where beauty queens pose with frogs. There are frog races and jumping contests and special food.
I like my frogs fried frog legs.
It's part of a unique history and flavor and has made Rain the frog capital of the world.
And that was reporter Dave McNamara with that interesting profile down there on Rain, Louisiana, the self-proclaimed frog capital of the world. We are at 842, another great view of our downtown skyline, courtesy of our SkyTrack network. We're going to be right back with one last look at today's stories I want to share with you on Wave News Extra. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Eight 8:44 now on this Monday night here in the Wave Now studio. Thanks for sticking with us for tonight's edition of Wave News Extra. Yeah, it's October, maybe not, the perfect time of the year or the season. If you'd been planned out for those vacations, whether that's those long road trips, maybe that cruise, or even a flight to get away, at least, on the home front for U.S. airports. TSA, the administration saying that it is rolling out some changes, letting travelers, for example, keep their shoes on. Perhaps that's one way flying can get a little less stressful, but what might it mean for American flyers who do pay that extra, have already paid that extra fee for the perks of security speed like TSA PreCheck or Clear? Is that still worth it? Our consumer investigators wanted to take a look. Our Rachel DePompa caught up with LendingTree about some new findings in tonight's edition of Watching Your Wallet.
LendingTree surveyed travelers and found 1 out of every 4 people pay for TSA PreCheck or Clear, and 89% who use it say it's worth it. Matt Schultz with LendingTree also told us the survey found a lot of people get a little frustrated if they're traveling with people who don't use it. Schultz says no longer having to remove your shoes in the regular security line does take away a perk from PreCheck, but there are still other notable values to the service.
It still does help you with other things, like you don't have to take your laptop or liquids out of the bag when you go through TSA PreCheck. You might be able to leave that light jacket on, that sort of thing. But ultimately, when you're talking about whether it's worth it or not, a lot of it comes down to how much you travel.
Schultz says it's not one size fits all. If you travel once a year, it's probably not worth the extra money. But if you travel all of the time for business, that's probably a little more worth it. TSA PreCheck starts at $76.75 for new enrollees, and that's an enrollment that lasts for 5 years. Global Entry, Nexus, and Sentry cost $120 each for 5 years, and Clear is $199 per year. And remember, Schultz says there are some credit cards that offer a credit for the cost of signing up for TSA PreCheck. So before you completely dismiss an expedited screening service like this, check with your credit card company too. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Coming back here to the Metro, First Financial Bank's hosting a food drive between now and Halloween to help people who may be falling on some harder times. The bank says it's accepting canned food and non-perishable box food in large marked bins at its 10 centers all over town. Each of the 10 centers is going to choose which organization they'd like to donate the food to once the drive ends. And so here's a little bit more on what this campaign means.
So this is all a part of our mission to help our communities thrive. And us at First Financial, we call this being proudly local. Each staff member here, on top of all of our clients, really love to give back to our communities. And I think that this is a great way for everyone to be able to do a little bit of something.
This is First Financial's fourth year hosting this food drive. Last year, over 5,700 items were collected for folks who live throughout Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and in Illinois. Hopping over to the Yum Center over the weekend, former LMPD officer Nick Wilt got to meet his favorite comedian, Nate Bargatze, if that name's familiar for stand-up fans. He had a show at the KFC Yum Center on Sunday. Wilt was invited backstage to meet Bargatze. You see the two there enjoying some downtime, taking some pictures. Wilt's family says the comedian's team was incredible, quote, for setting this up and wanting to thank them for making Nick's night very memorable. He continues to recover. If you remember, of course, the horrible circumstance when Nick Wilt was shot during the Old National Bank shooting back in 2023, but seeming like they are, as a family, enjoying that night out for that comedy show with Nate Bargatze. We're going to wrap things up tonight, as we promised you in that push alert and pretty, once in a blue moon kind of conversation. If we put these three things together in a sentence: the Louisville Orchestra, blues, and Morgan Freeman. Seems like could be the ingredients for one heck of a concert. Academy Award winner, that Morgan Freeman, talked to Wave News anchor Myra Ansari about how he's going to be in Louisville for a pretty unique music experience called Morgan Freeman's Symphonic Blues Experience.
I went to the crossroads, fell down on my knees.
Welcome to our Symphonic Blues Experience.
It's a chance to see Morgan Freeman in a way you've never seen him before. Not acting, not narrating a documentary, but grooving.
This is their story. The sound of America's past, present, the heartbeat of culture that refuses to be forgotten. This is the Symphonic Blues Experience.
The Morgan Freeman is joining us via Zoom today. Mr. Freeman, so excited to see you. The Symphonic Blues Experience is coming to Louisville's Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts on October 11th. Mr. Freeman, talk to me on Zoom about the concert.
What we have, of course, is the combination of the music of a symphony orchestra and blues performers performing the blues.
It's a live concert that bridges the soul-stirring roots of the Mississippi Delta blues with the richness of the Louisville Orchestra. It will sound like this. Mr. Freeman, tell me why you're so passionate about the blues. What do you love about the blues?
One of the things I love about it is who created it, where it comes from. It's part of my history and a part of American history. So we're totally integrated there. And I guess it's music. It's really soulful music, and I'm a music lover.
Mr. Freeman loves it so much, he co-owns the legendary Ground Zero Blues Club in Clarksdale, Mississippi. The artists performing in the concert come from Ground Zero. What's exciting about the show is the Oscar-winning actor will be live in person in Louisville on October 11th to present the Symphonic Blues Experience as the show's narrator.
I've been to Louisville once before. I went for a horse race there, won trifecta. And I'm looking forward to coming back.
The Symphonic Blues Experience has teamed up with orchestras around the world, in Ireland, in Austria, and in the U.S. The fact that the musical tribute is coming here is a big moment for the Louisville Orchestra. I think music brings people together. It doesn't matter how different we are, but sometimes, you find yourself tapping your foot, shaking your head, moving from side to side. It's something that kind of brings people together, and we need that right now, Mr. Freeman.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Pretty cool there from Myra Ansari. Short reminder here, just we have the information up. This is Louisville Orchestra's presentation of Morgan Freeman's Symphonic Blues Experience. It's going to be at the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts October 11th. Show starts at 7:30. There are some tickets still available. You can go to wave3.com, by the way, for more information. And while you are there, and I'll bring us back to the homepage while we're doing that. As you scroll down, you can also find Myra's full interview with Morgan Freeman, much more extended, we should say. Just take a look, and you could scroll right down and just search for it up here in the little icon, the little magnifying glass icon. Type in the word. Easy peasy, and something for you to enjoy. Of course, our digital team updates all the big stories that are happening here in Kentucky, Southern Indiana, in the metro, and all around that we want to share and make sure you all are informed and up to date. All right, that's going to do it for us on tonight's edition of Wave News Extra. For the Night Owls, make sure to join us for the latest updates and whatever breaking news comes in on Wave News at 11 with the storm tracking team and our reporters. Make sure to tune in, of course, tomorrow for Sunrise Extra. We're going to be back in at 8:05, the usual time on Tuesday. So hope you join us then, whether that's through the social media stream channels or on the Wave Now app. Always appreciate your time, everybody. I'm Jose Sosaya. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.